You are standing in the parking lot of the Bernalillo County Courthouse at 7:40 a.m., eating a granola bar out of a briefcase, waiting for the clerk's office to open. Your car is a 1998 Suzuki Esteem. It has 112,000 miles on it. The passenger seat is covered in manila folders. The back seat has a folding table in it because your office, a $700 a month sublease in the back of a nail salon on Montgomery Boulevard, doesn't have enough furniture for both a desk and a client chair. You chose the chair. The case you're about to file is for an 81-year-old woman named Mrs. Nguyen, Sandpiper Crossing Senior Living Facility. The dispute is $14 in overbilling on her monthly phone package. $14. You drove 22 minutes to file it. You are not a criminal lawyer. You keep telling yourself that. The work is honest. That's what you say when people ask. Court-appointed misdemeanor defense, $50 a case from the clerk's office window, slip and falls, elder law wills, the kind of work that fills a schedule and empties a bank account. You tell yourself the system rewards patience. You've been telling yourself that for 3 years. Here's what changes everything. You start asking questions at Sandpiper Crossing, not about Mrs. Nguyen's $14, about the other residents. You go through the billing records. 26 residents, all overbilled, all on fixed incomes, all trusting the facility to get it right. The total is roughly $40,000 at first estimate. Then you look closer. The pattern is system-wide, deliberate. This is a RICO violation, a real one, the kind of case that makes careers. You call Hamlin, and McGill. You have to. A class action this size needs more than one lawyer, and your brother Chuck is a founding partner. This is the moment, you tell yourself. This is how it happens. Honest work, patient work, rewarded the way it's supposed to be. HHM takes the case. They do not take you. Howard Hamlin delivers this news in a parking garage with the calm of a man, announcing a lunch order. The firm wants the case, not you. You are, in Howard's phrasing, not the right fit. What Howard means, what you will only learn later, is that your brother has been quietly, methodically ensuring you never get through the door. Chuck McGill, the most respected lawyer in Albuquerque, your brother, he has been working against you for years. Not out of malice, he would say, out of conviction. He genuinely believes you don't belong. You stand in the parking garage and you do not scream. You drive back to the nail salon. The air smells like acetone. You sit at your folding table and you think about what it means that the system has now rejected you twice. Once when you passed the bar and nobody would hire you. Once when you handed them a RICO case on a platter and they handed it back with your name removed. You file the granola bar wrapper in the trash and you start making other plans. The skater scheme is small. 2 kids on boards, a staged accident, a soft target for a quick insurance settlement. Victimless. Nobody gets hurt. The worst case is you get a few $1,000s in a check that takes 6 weeks to clear. You tell yourself it's not fraud if the injury doesn't happen to a real person. You tell yourself a lot of things that month. What actually happens? The kids find the wrong car, the wrong address, and you end up in the Albuquerque desert at sunset, kneeling in the dirt in front of a man named Tuco Salamanca, who has already decided he's going to break both of the kids' legs, and is considering something worse. He is not a man you negotiate with. Everyone who knows his name knows this. You negotiate with him anyway. For 40 minutes in the open desert, you talk. You shift frames. You find the logic he'll accept. You talk a violent, volatile, genuinely unpredictable man away from a decision he'd already made. The kids walk away, limping but walking. Afterward, sitting on the drive back into the city, you understand something about yourself for the first time. Not that you're brave. You're not brave. You were terrified for every one of those 40 minutes. What you understand is that you are very, very good at this. The man who finds you in the courthouse hallway 6 weeks later is calm in the way that dangerous people are calm. His name is Nacho Varga. He is not loud. He does not threaten. He simply tells you he has a client who needs representation, hands you a card with a number on it, and walks away before you can say no. The client is a man named Domingo Molina, your street name, Crazy 8. The charge is drug distribution. The fee is $4,000, cash, flat rate. You know what Nacho is. You know what Crazy 8 is. You stand in the hallway for a long moment with the card in your hand, and you think about the folding table in the nail salon, and the $700 rent, and the $50 per misdemeanor, and the parking garage, and Chuck's voice explaining why you don't belong. You take the case. You tell yourself everyone deserves a defense. This is true. It is also not the reason you take it. Here's what you do. You get Crazy 8 released by positioning him as a confidential informant for the DEA. A legal maneuver, technically clean. A DEA agent Hank Schrader signs the paperwork. The case dissolves. Your client walks out of the courthouse, and you collect $4,000 in an envelope, and you do not think about what happens to Crazy 8 after that. You don't ask. This is the first rule you teach yourself without realizing it. Don't ask what happens after. The money is real in a way that $50 court appointments are not. Not because $4,000 is a fortune, because it arrives without a 6-week processing window, without a clerk's signature, without the courthouse treating you like a minor inconvenience to be managed. Someone needed something only you could do, and they paid for it immediately. This is a different feeling than honest work. You file it away. Then Chuck destroys you. He has been recording conversations. He has a tape of you admitting to fabricating documents in the Mesa Verde banking case. A moment of honesty in a private room that he turned into a weapon. He presents it at a bar hearing. The room is very quiet while it plays. You sit and listen to your own voice confess. Your license is suspended for 12 months. During those 12 months, you sell prepaid phones, burner handsets, $19.99, cash only, from a folding table set up near the courthouse. Your customers are not people who need cheap phones. You know who they are. You know what the phones are for. You take the money anyway, and you tell yourself it's legal. It is legal. Selling a phone is not a crime. What the buyer does with it is not your responsibility. You are very good at this argument by now. Chuck dies before your suspension ends. He sets fire to his own house. The inquiry determines he dismantled a gas lantern and waited. You are told this by a third party, not by anyone at HHM, because nobody at HHM tells you anything anymore. You go to the service. You stand in the back. You watch people cry. Colleagues, clients, former clerks, people whose careers Chuck built or saved or shaped across 30 years of genuine, rigorous, principled legal work. Your brother was a great lawyer. You have always known this. It is not a contradiction you are able to resolve, so you stop trying. You will spend years not knowing how much of what happened to Chuck you caused. You will spend years not thinking about it directly, the way you don't look at a bright light directly. You look slightly to the side and keep moving. Here's what you tell yourself. He would have destroyed me first. He was already destroying me. Here's what you don't say out loud. You're not sure anymore which one of you started it. Your license comes back. Your name goes back on the door. A different door, a strip mall on Montgomery Boulevard, 30 feet of beige storefront with an inflatable Statue of Liberty bolted to the roof. You hire a secretary named Francesca Liddy at $14 an hour. She's organized and competent, and she looks at the office with the expression of someone who expected better and has decided not to say so. You put up a sign. It is visible from the highway. It reads, "Better call Saul." You did not plan the name. It was already what people called you. The criminal clients, the courthouse regulars, the bail bondsmen who started sending you referrals after Crazy 8. The name existed before you decided to use it. You tell yourself you're just making it official. The phone starts ringing the first week. The office fills the silence Kim left. This is not a metaphor. You work longer hours after she goes. Francesca notices but says nothing. She has learned to read the office the way sailors read weather, and she adjusts accordingly. The phone still rings. The clients still come. DUIs and possessions give way to something larger. A chemistry teacher from the West Side named Walter White, referred through a chain of introductions that you don't examine too closely, who has a problem that requires a specific kind of help. You listen to Walter White's problem for 40 minutes in your office, and then you make a phone call. The call connects Walter to Gustavo Fring's distribution network. You have met Fring twice, once at Los Pollos Hermanos, in a booth near the back, where he set a cup of coffee in front of you and spoke about supply chains with the precision of a man who has never once improvised anything. He is not Lalo. He is something more controlled and therefore more dangerous, in the way that pressure contained in a sealed system is more dangerous than pressure venting openly. Walter's operation runs at roughly $50,000 a week when you make the call. You stop tracking the number after that. This is deliberate. You understand at some level that not knowing the number makes it easier to continue. You are very good at knowing exactly how much not to know. The money needs to move. This is the technical problem that occupies most of your working hours for the next 2 years. You establish a series of shell companies. The primary vehicle is a company called Ice Station Zebra Associates. Every dollar that passes through it is documented. You are meticulous. You have always been meticulous on this is the thing people miss about you, the thing that reads as chaos from outside but is actually very precise navigation. The chaos is the surface. Underneath is a lawyer who has not made a procedural error in 6 years. This is what makes you valuable. Not the charm, not the television commercials, not the inflatable Statue of Liberty. The fact that the work is clean. You relocate a man named Huel Babineau to avoid drug charges by organizing a letter-writing campaign from the town of Coshata, Louisiana. 26 fake constituent letters to a state senator, executed over 10 days, not one of them traceable. It works completely. A judge reduces Huel's sentence to time served. Huel becomes your personal security. You arrange witness relocations. You manage introductions between people who cannot be seen meeting. You draft agreements that are technically legal and practically criminal, and you know the difference and you do it anyway. And one afternoon in Walter White's living room, in a conversation about a young man named Jesse Pinkman who has become a liability, you hear yourself suggest, in the same flat tone you use for billing disputes, that the simplest solution would be to remove Jesse from the equation permanently. You mean kill him. You say it like a line item. Walter decides against it. You move on to the next problem. Later, not much later, but later, you will sit with the memory of that sentence and understand that something shifted when you said it, not because the thought was new, because saying it out loud in that voice cost you nothing. 27 RICO violations. That is the number, eventually. Conspiracy to manufacture and distribute a controlled substance. 8 counts of money laundering. Accessory after the fact to the murders of 2 federal agents, Hank Schrader and Stephen Gomez. Men whose names you knew, men you had been in rooms with, men who died because a machine you helped build ran past the point of control. When Walt's operation collapses, it collapses fast, the way structures collapse, not gradually, and then suddenly, but all at once, every load-bearing element failing in sequence. You have one move prepared for this. You have always had one move prepared for this. His name is Ed Galbraith. People call him the Disappearer. His fee is $125,000 for a full identity erasure and relocation. New name, new city, new life. No traceable thread back to anything you were. On your last day in the office, you tell Francesca to shred everything. 10 years of client files. She runs the machine for 4 hours without stopping. Before you leave, you give her an attorney's business card, not yours. And you tell her to be at a specific telephone booth on November 12th at 3 p.m. to receive a call. November 12th is your birthday. You don't explain this. You don't explain any of it. You hand her the card and you walk out of the office and you do not look at the inflatable Statue of Liberty on the roof because you already know what it looks like and you don't need to carry the image. You call Ed Galbraith. His phone rings twice. The apron is polyester, tan and white. You wear it every day. The Cinnabon at Cottonwood Mall in Omaha opens at 9 a.m. You arrive at 7:45. You check inventory. You initial the opening checklist. You make sure the display case is wiped down before the first customers come through because a smudged display case is the kind of detail that compounds. One small failure becoming 2. Becoming a standard, becoming the reason a district manager writes a note in a file. You are meticulous. You have always been meticulous. This is what's left of you. Your name is Gene Takavic. It has been Gene Takavic for months now, long enough that you sometimes think it before the other name, long enough that when someone calls across the mall food court, you don't flinch the way you used to. You manage 4 employees. You approve schedules. You take out the trash at 9:15 p.m. before closing, through a side corridor to a dumpster room with a door that locks from the outside. One night the door closes behind you. There is an emergency exit on the far wall. A sign above it says that opening the door will trigger an immediate police response. You stand in the dumpster room for 2.5 hours waiting for the night cleaning crew to open the door from the other side. You do not open the emergency exit 2.5 hours in a room that smells like yesterday's cinnamon sugar because you cannot afford to have police look at your face. While you wait, you find a loose screw on the wall. You carve 4 letters and 2 initials into the concrete, SG. Was here. You don't examine why you do this. You pocket the screw and go back to work. The cab driver's name is Jeff. He recognizes you outside the mall one afternoon. Not from the news, not from a wanted poster, but from the commercials. The ones Francesca helped film in 2005 in a parking lot off Montgomery Boulevard. The ones that ran on local Albuquerque television for 3 years. Better call Saul. He wants you to say it. He is grinning the way people grin when they think they've found something. You consider calling Ed Galbraith. $125,000 for a second extraction, a second erasure, a third name in a third city. You pick up the phone, you dial the number, and then midway through the call, you decide to fix it yourself. This is the decision that ends everything, not the RICO violations, not the $7 million in the desert, not the sentence you said in Walter White's living room in a flat voice that cost you nothing. This decision. A cab driver in Omaha and the arrogance of thinking you can still work the room. Jeff's mother is named Marion. She is elderly and sharp, and she has a life alert device and a laptop, and, it turns out, a functional understanding of how to use a search engine. She finds your face. She reads your name off a license plate to a life alert operator while you are still in her house. By the time you understand what is happening, the police scanner in your apartment is broadcasting your car's description across the city. You run. You go through a rear window with a shoebox containing Ed Galbraith's business card, a burner phone in sealed packaging, and several loose diamonds. You are trying to open the phone's clamshell packaging when you upend the shoebox into the dumpster you are hiding in. The diamonds scatter. You are on your hands and knees in a dumpster in Omaha, Nebraska at 11:40 p.m., searching for diamonds in the dark when the police find you. They are not rough about it. There is no drama. You put your hands up and they put the cuffs on. And that is the end of Gene Takavic. The bus to ADX Montrose takes 2 days, 86 years, 27 RICO violations, 8 counts of money laundering, conspiracy, accessory after the fact to the deaths of 2 federal agents. The other prisoners on the bus recognize you one by one, not as a fugitive, not as a criminal, but as a television personality. They chant the slogan, "You smile." You don't know why you smile. You stopped knowing why you do things a long time ago. The bus slows at a light on the edge of Albuquerque. Through the window, you can see the Bernalillo County Courthouse parking lot. It is 7:40 in the morning. A young man in an ill-fitting suit is standing by the clerk's entrance, eating something out of a briefcase, waiting for the doors to open. He has a manila folder under his arm. He is looking at the building like it still owes him something. He has no idea what road he's standing at the beginning of. The light changes.